Hello, and thank you for watching today's Northeast Regional Forecast. I'm Andrew Pritchard, meteorologist with Nutrien Ag Solutions. Over the next 10 days, we're going to watch some big changes with our temperatures across the central United States. A front currently moving across the Canadian prairie. Going to bring some colder temperatures first to the northern plains, but then eventually the entire Corn Belt and parts of the Northeast region by the time we get to the weekend into early next week. Now, precipitation across the Northeast region going to be pretty quiet over the next 10 days. As you look at these two maps, not much difference between the 5-day forecast and the full 10-day forecast, and that because a lot of the next 10 days is going to be dominated by this storm system, again, over the late part of the week into the weekend, bringing some wintry precipitation to the northern plains and the Canadian prairie, another round of showers and storms to parts of the Mississippi River Valley. But then this thing really runs out of moisture as it moves off to the east, and then we have high pressure on the backside. So we'll see some rain moving out of the area over the next 24 hours, but then really quiet in terms of precipitation over the next 10 days in the Northeast region. Now, the last 24 hours, we have finally seen some more widespread precipitation moving through from the Mid-South into the Northeast region, bringing some precipitation to this corridor here, again from Kentucky and Tennessee on into parts of Maine. So finally getting some more widespread precipitation across the region, folks getting anywhere from half an inch to an inch or so. As we look at the satellite picture, still watching this thing slowly move on out of here, the area of low pressure off to the south with plenty of cloud cover still remaining over all but the far eastern or far western portions of the Northeast region, with high pressure dominating off to the west. A very beautiful start to the day across the central plains from the Great Lakes into the Midwest and on into the Gulf Coast. Plenty of sunshine there. As we look at the radar, the only really widespread rain to be found is, again, across this corridor here, across far eastern portions near coastal areas of the Northeast region from parts of east central Pennsylvania and northeast from there. As we look at the surface map here, high pressure coming in on the backside here. That, again, the reason for the beautiful weather across a huge chunk of the eastern U.S., and we will get in on that here in the Northeast region over the next 24 hours as this front continues to slowly move out of here. By the time we get to Thursday morning now, watching for this more major storm system developing across the central U.S., plenty of moisture coming in from the Gulf of Mexico and the leading edge of this one, ahead of that cold front, and then plenty of cold air coming in on the backside. Abundant moisture, plenty of unseasonably cold air, going to bring a round of snow to parts of the northern plains into the Canadian prairie. Not talking about any of that just yet here across the Northeast region. Not talking about any severe weather either, as we talk about this storm system off to the west. Maybe a low risk of a strong storm in western Oklahoma on Wednesday. Then this would be Thursday, maybe a slight risk for some strong storms across the southern plains into the central plains, with a marginal risk extending all the way into southern Iowa Thursday afternoon and evening. But as we look at the Northeast region, not talking about severe weather over the next few days. Now we'll just play the temperature animation over the next 7 days here and watch this cold front come in from the northwest, sweeping into the Northeast region, and then eventually through the Corn Belt, and then eventually the Northeast region as we get into early next week. We'll time this out once more as we go to bed tonight. This front making its way into the northern plains, waking up on Thursday morning or on Wednesday morning with that front moving into parts of North Dakota. We'll go through the day on Wednesday into Thursday now. Waking up on Friday morning, that cold front making its way along the Mississippi River now, right across this area. We'll head through the day on Friday, now getting into Saturday morning. The cold front now situated across the Great Lakes, pushing into parts of Ohio, and then moving into the Northeast region during the day Saturday into Sunday. Not quite as dramatic a cold front here as it makes its way into the Northeast region as it will be in the parts of the Midwest and the Corn Belt. I'm not looking at any widespread frost across the Northeast region from this one either. Also not looking at any widespread precipitation. We'll play this thing out here one more time. Dealing with some precipitation in coastal areas as this original area of low pressure kind of moves along the coast just offshore, taking us into Thursday, seeing some light rain in coastal areas there, ending by the time we get to Friday here for most of us. As we get into Saturday now, watching this cold front swing through the region, maybe some light precipitation primarily in western areas here, western Pennsylvania into western New York State, Saturday afternoon and evening. The front really begins to wash out Saturday night into Sunday, leaving folks in the eastern half of the region pretty much out to dry. Now this area of low pressure spins down and kind of cuts itself off here as it winds down as we go into early next week, with high pressure trying to come in on the backside. So a quiet period follows the frontal passage here Saturday and Sunday. Looking at the snow probability here, greater than 6 inches. There we see that corridor from the Intermountain West all the way through parts of South Dakota into North Dakota, parts of western Nebraska, western Minnesota. That's what I mean there, into Manitoba and Ontario. Now our frost probability model, this will take us into early next week, watching for low probabilities here. Let's take this in the front, moving through the region here Thursday, Friday, Saturday into Sunday. Maybe a low risk of a frost here across parts of western Pennsylvania as we get into Saturday night and Sunday morning, and then perhaps a low risk of low probability of some frost across the northeast region. This would be Sunday night into Monday morning now, as the coldest temperatures sink across the region, warming up slightly as we head into early to mid next week. So if we're going to see any frost in some of the higher elevation areas here, it looks like it would be Saturday night into Sunday morning, or Sunday night into Monday morning. There we go. That's how days work. We'll take a look at the minimum temperature forecasts here across the entire U.S. as we head into the weekend and next week, watching the colder temperatures swing in. This is when we'll be talking about frost across a widespread chunk of the Corn Belt, the north and west, kind of the long and west of this line here across Minnesota, Iowa into Kansas. Now the cold air, again, it starts to kind of wash out as it makes its way across the northeast region. Right now, the National Blended Model keeping temperatures above freezing across the northeast region. We have this cutoff here where it goes from green to blue. That, of course, where temperatures go below freezing, and not quite seeing any widespread areas of that across the northeast region, though there could be a low risk that a couple isolated areas do hit that freezing mark. Total accumulated precipitation, again, seeing coastal areas pick up some of that as we head through the next couple of days. Otherwise, we will watch this frontal passage Saturday and Sunday for the chance for some isolated or scattered showers and storms, but not anticipating a significant rainfall from the weekend frontal passage. We'll finish with some high temperatures then, highs in the 50s and 60s for the day today. Wednesday, very similar picture. Some warm air starts to come in from the west as we get into Thursday and Friday, but still keeping it pretty chilly across the region. Your Saturday high temperatures still anywhere from the mid-50s to the north to near 70 degrees in the south. As always, Eric Snodgrass will be back with a look at the next 1 to 2 weeks in our Thursday morning ag forecast video, and I will be back to talk about the Northeast region on Friday morning. Have a great day.